please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman Taylor, Councilman Whalen,
Here.
Councilman Yangstrom,
Here.
Councilman Ballard,
Here.
Councilman Zipprich,
Here.
Councilwoman Horgan.
Here.
I'm sure that Councilman Taylor is busy with infant duties, and we all congratulate him on the birth of his son 2 days ago. It looks like it's a healthy baby. Must have worked at all. So it's definitely excused from being here tonight. Sunshine State.
Let the minutes reflect that in compliance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act, that notice of this meeting has been provided by notifying the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and the Star Ledger, and by placing a notice on the bulletin board and filing same with the Borough Clerk on January 1, 2018.
Thank you. We have a number of workshop matters tonight. The first should be a relatively simple one. It has been a tradition of the municipality in the past, either in the summer 2 months, to do a consolidated meeting or an earlier meeting. So, for the purposes of the council, there is a resolution on the agenda that would eliminate the July 11th meeting and July 25th meeting and consolidate that into what probably will be a very much longer meeting on July the 18th. That's also a Wednesday. And also for the months of August, to cancel the existing meetings and bracket the new meeting for August the 15th. Any comments by members of the council? Okay, so that is going to be added unless it is added, yeah. Okay, so that is added for our action. Second is a bike share proposal, and either Councilman Zipprich or our business administrator will give us a little information on that, but I think it's an extraordinarily good idea to share that proposal.
Okay, just briefly, and I'll turn it over to Z. Z and I met with a bike share organization a couple of weeks ago, and they presented the concept of introducing a bike share program to Red Bank. I've also reached out to our neighboring municipalities in Fairhaven and Little Silver and talked to members of their governing bodies to find out whether they would be interested in also doing a bike share program, and they both have expressed interest and are bringing it to their council members this week and next to just discuss whether we could put together a bid package to go out and create a bike share program, either here or in all 3 municipalities.
Thank you, Council President. Just to add, because you covered all the bases, but the next steps that are involved is the preparation of bid specs, because this is in a way a concession. We're going to be involving space on the roadways and putting bicycles and pay stations involved. There needs to be a bid specification prepared. We'll go out to bid, we'll review the bids, and then make recommendations. So the first step in what we're seeking authorization from the governing body today is the ability to go ahead, prepare those bid specs, and advertise. The ability to do that sooner rather than later also allows us to work with those neighboring municipalities, as Council President said, so that way if we can have a regional program, it would be more to the benefit of the patrons who would use this. It would be also wise for us to include the Business Improvement District, River Center, in those discussions, so that way we can make sure that the placement of all of these does not disrupt operations for the businesses, and it's in a more ideal location. But all of that can be hashed out at a further date.
I think it's a great idea, and thank you for the meeting, Ed, and also Ziad. And I think we should move on it as quickly as possible, and can be added. Actually, we don't need a resolution. Does anybody have any questions or opposition to that? Okay, so you've got our authorization to go ahead and prepare the bid specs in terms of proposals that companies may want to share in Red Bank or collectively with the other municipalities who create it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I do have one question.
Go ahead.
So if we're gonna have a bike share program, I assume we're gonna make Red Bank more bike friendly, more bike lanes and stuff like that. So how does that fit into the whole process?
Well, the county's engaged in that, some of their county-owned roadways. They've done a great job on Ridge Avenue. We're talking to them in terms of the Shrewsbury Avenue part, or the Shrewsbury Avenue redevelopment group. And I think that the first step is let's get the professionals in that know how to do this sort of stuff, and they'll talk to us, and then we will proceed further. But I mean, we have to start somewhere, might as well start with that, right?
And Mayor, I just wanted to remind you that years back, we had a bike and pedestrian citizens group that got together and actually put together a safe routes to school and a bike and ped plan that was adopted to the master plan. So the foundation is already set for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a challenge.
And each time we repaved a road, we have either asked the engineers in their design to either incorporate a dedicated bike lane if it fits. Otherwise, to make sure that we have share the road sharrows painted throughout the borough to make sure that it's bike friendly.
I think it's going to be a challenge, as I started saying before, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you know something? I can't think of any tighter spaces than Jersey City and Hoboken, and they've been able to successfully do it, and there's a marriage between cars, pedestrians, and bikes. I don't see any reason why we can't figure out a solution to Red Bank.
No, I'm absolutely certain that Red Bank can do it. If anybody can do it, Red Bank can do it. I just want to make sure that, we put that foot forward so our bikers are safe. I'd love to see that program.
Okay, great. So you've got your marching orders as yet. Next is a resolution approving participation in the Cops in the Shops program. This came after the agenda was drafted. Cops in the Shop program is a funded program in terms of enforcement with respect to underage drinking. And so we have to approve it by resolution for participation. Any problem? Is that it? Next, we have another housekeeping item, a resolution awarding professional services to our engineer, CME Associates, as redevelopment planning engineer in regard to lots 2.01, 401, 6, and 9.01, Block 3, pursuant to Title 19, 4820-.4 for purposes of people who do not have a tax map in their pocket. This is the property that was commonly known and is designated as the V&A site, which includes the V&A building as well as all of the other properties between the coastal building and the V&A site. And that has been the subject of an acquisition. And it is helpful for the municipality to start its planning considerations, our planner as well as engineer, to give a design framework as well as engineering framework for a redevelopment area to be dedicated, so we need authorization. Now, you're all going to ask, where's the money coming from? The money if we do a designation by resolution for professional services, we enter into a redevelopment agreement with the property owner, and the property owner through the redevelopment agreement can fund the review costs, otherwise we can't do it. So we have to start somewhere. This is a good place to start. We authorize the review by our engineer, reports back to us and the Riverside Avenue Redevelopment Committee, and move forward. But then we can get, in other words, we're authorizing it, but the developer cannot pay our professionals unless we have a redevelopment agreement with them. Okay?
So in essence, we're paying the bill and they'll reimburse us.
Well, we don't have a bill yet, but hopefully if we adopt this, we'll have a redevelopment agreement with respect to the pass-through. We won't even have to advance the cost of it directly to us. But in the absence of that, we would have to pay the bills.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so that is added on the agenda. Anything else for workshop? No? Okay, good. Approval of the minutes for May 30th, 2018.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayoral appointments. Yes. Joe Rocco. It's okay. I would like to nominate and appoint Joan Rothwell, one of our residents who's currently on the Rent Leveling Board, as the mayor's alternate to the Red Bank Library Board, and she's agreed to serve. Okay, any objection? Good, motion to confirm? Second, all in favor? Reports of mayor and council committee members. Let me just quickly start off without hogging everything up. As we've all been privy to the media blitz and news items, the municipality has released our management enhancement review, and I think I tried to deal with it in terms of some of the questions that have arisen by the press corps, and I thank them for their interest and their attention to this. The management review, I just wanted to re-emphasize in case people did not quite understand some of the diatribe in some of the press reports, was actually a report and was an analysis that was directed, was engaged, and was done at the request of this governing body. We as a governing body decided that the time was right for us as a municipality to take a look at the organic structure of our institutions, of our municipalities at every level. So this is not something that was mandated to us by the state, by the county, or by anybody that was pressing for us. This is something that we wanted to do because we recognized, all of us, and it was a bipartisan effort that started last year to move forward into the next stage of the Red Bank experience, and in order to do so, to get a comprehensive, total, and completely unbiased review of all that the operations entail, and where we could all collectively do a better job. So this is not something that was mandated, and showed a great deal of courage for the municipality, for the governing body to engage in what would ultimately be a self-analysis, but also a critical analysis. Certainly would have been much easier for us not to do anything and to waddle along. But that's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to be moderate about this, completely transparent, and move forward with various recommendations as well as initiatives that we were going to be having continual discussions. The other thing that I wanted to bring out is that we started taking some of the remedial actions a substantial amount of time ago when the report was being implemented and also prepared. Another example is an ordinance that's on for introduction and action this evening regarding the position of the business administrator. And internally, we've already started some of these changes in this building and also in other borough facilities. It's going to be a lot of work, but it was the right thing to do. It was the right time to do it, and it shows that the municipality is willing to review and exchange all the information with the public as well as ourselves in an effort to become stronger, become better, and to move forward. So I thank the governing body, and I thank our professionals, and certainly I want to thank both Ken and Joe who worked on it and gave us the tools for us to look at ourselves critically, but in a constructive fashion.
Thanks, Mayor. I think you summarized that beautifully. We all sort of held our breath in the beginning when we were sitting down and hashing out whether we were going to go forward with that. But I think this critical analysis of what we have was well timed. Prior to the hiring of a new business administrator, I think that this document is going to serve not only us as members of the governing body and Z as our business administrator and the rest of the staff here, but it is going to be our roadmap to the future as we shape the future of Red Bank and make municipal government that much more friendly to our residents and our businesses.
Thank you. Okay, reports of council committee members. Michael.
Thank you, Mayor. Welcome, everyone. Tonight on the agenda is the hopefully adoption of our 2018 budget. As finance chair, I just wanted to share a little bit of my experience with that. I'm not going to go through a 15-minute slideshow, but the slides that you're used to seeing, as well as the budget that's ready for adoption, is on our website for you to peruse at your leisure. The 2018 municipal budget process started with an estimated tax levy increase of more than 11%. Diligent work by the borough's finance professionals and the finance committee lowered the municipal tax rate to 4.8% in the current budget. In this budget, before you tonight, revenues have decreased from 2017 by more than 6%, but we were able to contain appropriations increase to less than 1%. A major revenue challenge faced in the 2018 budgeting process included the Riverview pilot, which expired at the end of 2017. It's $185,000, along with Riverview's unpaid half of $92,500 for this year. That's a total of $277,000 hit on our 2018 budget. This alone accounts for more than 1/3 of the overall increase in the 2018 taxation. Additionally, the borough has been overly aggressive in holding the line on tax increases. Modest tax increases in the face of decreasing revenues would have been a more prudent path for the borough. Instead, most of available surplus has been exhausted with little regard for future impact. It's time for reality assessment and doing what's right for the taxpayers of Red Bank. This increase affects the mayor and council as well as you. We prefer not to have such a large increase. This magnitude of tax increase is necessary, however, so we can put the borough on a path toward financial stability. Budget gimmicks and one-time revenues have to stop. Unfortunately, the outlook for 2019 is not much brighter. These budget problems did not happen overnight, nor can they be fixed overnight. It's time for a course correction. In October, the borough retained Government Strategy Group to undertake a comprehensive operational review, as the mayor spoke about. Their study has uncovered many opportunities to increase efficiency and cut costs. We are in the midst of intently studying their findings and working on an implementation plan for their many recommendations. But here's the good news. Recommendations can impact the borough with a net reduction of nearly $2.3 million per year beginning 5 years out. That's a 10-point tax, that's worth 10 tax points. Many of the implementations will be put in place during this time. Some of the noteworthy recommendations include a review and restructure of borough staff, hiring a grants consultant to bring greater resources to the borough, thoroughly examining costs, including health benefit costs, liability insurance premiums, voice and data communication services, energy costs, including buildings and streetlights. Excuse me. Revenue enhancements include initiating a competitive proposal for banking services, a false alarm ordinance, as well as examining all user fees and charges. A more vibrant budget process is now being utilized. We've adopted a 5-year budget forecasting model, as well as a 5-year ratable forecasting model. The borough is also addressing potential financial outcomes in regard to Riverview Medical Center, which can further improve our financial outlook. We're asking for your understanding and patience, and give us the time to implement this much needed and long overdue course correction. The mayor and council are unanimously committed to implementing changes to move Red Bank forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Ed?
Thanks, Mayor. Briefly, the Public Utilities Committee will hold its monthly meeting next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. River Center will be holding their first strategic planning session on June 18th. River Center is excited to invite Red Bank area residents and business owners to participate in the development of a strategic plan and a unified vision, as the voice of the borough's downtown. Kickoff meeting will be held at 7 p.m. on Monday, June 18th in the ballroom at the Oyster Point, 146 Botman Place. And I'm glad that River Center and the borough are being strategic in their planning. I think it'll be a good team effort going forward. I wanted to congratulate the graduates of the class of 2018. Remind everybody that tomorrow is Flag Day, so please remember to display the stars and stripes at your homes. Of course, wishing all of the dads out there a happy Father's Day, especially to Mark, celebrating his first. Thank you.
Kathy?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. The other night, last week, as a matter of fact, on June 7th, I presented a resolution to the highest ranking senior from Red Bank at RBR. And that highest ranking senior is also the valedictorian of the class. I just wanted to read a little bit about him to you. We have the resolution on the agenda tonight, although I already presented it to him last Thursday. His name is Harry Jane. The Director of School Counseling, Health Services and Assessment said the following: Harry Jane's GPA at the end of marking period 3 of his senior year is 104.5 on a scale of 100. The fact that Harry's GPA is high above the 100 scale is a testament to how well he achieved the most rigorous courses that we offer here at RBR. He's a graduate from the Pre-Engineering Academy. He's a member of the National Honor Society, Math National Honor Society, and the French National Honor Society. He's active in sports and volunteer services and student activities. He's a staff writer for the Buccaneer student-run newspaper, president of the Math League, vice president of the Computer Science Club, athlete in track and field and baseball. He tutors at RBR and also at lunch break. This amazing young man is going off to Yale University, where he'll be studying electrical engineering and computer science. And I think we should all be proud of that. This is the first highest ranking senior from Red Bank in a long time who's been valedictorian of his class. So very nice young man too. Moving on to the Eisner Library. At the New Jersey Library Association Conference on June 1st, the state librarian, Mary Shute, honored the Red Bank Public Library for conducting an outstanding multicultural program, Let's Talk About Race, to engage the community in meaningful dialogue. I've talked about this at a previous council meeting, but this was the actual award ceremony. The award came with a check for $1,000 to be used to expand the program. And many thanks to Linda Hewitt, who's the one who developed this program. Also recognized at that conference was the Story Walk success. This is a creative outreach to encourage literacy, exercise, and community, and was the brainchild of Sarah Williams, who works with the children at the library. The Story Walk is now permanently installed at Riverside Gardens, thank you, Cliff, where families, visitors, and friends can stroll around the park and read a different book each week. And for those of you who like summer reading is kicking off this Saturday, the 23rd of June, with a party at the library. So stop by and take out some books to read. And that's it.
Thank you, Kathy. And thank you for joining us on Monday for Elizabeth's retirement. Gary.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. The Red Bank Classic is this Saturday, starting at 8:30 a.m. There's still time to register at redbankclassic.com. Also, speaking of running, I wanted to congratulate all the participants in the Couch to 5K program, which ended last night with 16 runners competing in the Asbury Park Fire Alarm 5K. Fitness portion of the summer series is underway Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. in Riverside Gardens Park. Jazz and movies will begin in July. And also, we're starting up an adult dodgeball league in Riverside Gardens Park, which will begin Monday nights in Riverside Gardens. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I just want to also, as the Mayor and Councilman Zuprich did, congratulate Mark and Ashley on their first son. Everyone is doing well, and since obviously the He was just born a couple days ago. He wasn't going to be able to make it tonight. Also want to congratulate 2 of our police officers who were given an award by the New Jersey Narcotic New Jersey Narcotic Enforcement Officers. They made an arrest last year. They were awarded this past week. So just another good thing that our police department always does, and that is all.
Thank you, Michael. Okay. Communications and petitions. They've all been recommended by the Special Improvements Committee and approved for block party requests for residents of South Street on June 30th. Block party requests from residents of Morey for July 3. Request from T. Thomas Fortune to place temporary chalk graphics on July 1, 2018. And request from JBL Soul Kitchen to hold their 2nd annual Day of Hope Community Walk on Thursday, September 20th. Motion to approve. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Any members of the public have any comments or questions regarding any resolutions and/or ordinances on the agenda? There's going to be some specific ones that we'll be addressing, but this is your time to address anything that could be on the agenda. Tom.
Tom Weiserzak, 26 Oakland Street. Concerning the budget, I was here a couple months ago and said I would see the budget
for a second.
Sure.
Why don't we just open that up formally then, because
You want
I don't
okay.
think anybody else has anything else, and just for the record, okay?
Understood.
All right, so there's no others at this point for public comment, and we have the budget public hearing and comments, which is ordinance 2018-13. Is there a motion to introduce? Second. Okay, public hearing on the budget. Mr. Weiser. You can sit down if you want.
No, that's okay. I'll stand up before the governing body. Tom Weiserzak, 26 Oakland Street. So I was here and I said I would come through, and I have been communicating with the council individually to make sure we're not violating any Open Public Records Acts. And with that said, these are things I've been throwing out there, and I keep hearing year after year. I gave my Republican friends an opportunity to cut costs and hold the line. Didn't work there. I was really hopeful with the Democrats coming in and having all the power that we have right now with the legislature that we would do something. And this is 5%. And you said reality check. It is a reality check. Our governor wants another $1.5 billion in tax revenue, in raises. That's taxes on us, all of us. The county's going to want more money. The school board is going to want more money. Relief is coming in 5 years. Am I going to be paying $20,000 a year on my 1,600 square foot home? That's what we're going to get to here. I think it's a shame that we're not doing anything else to look at costs here. I presented a couple things. I'd love to just present them out there. What has the council actually done to engage in outsourcing our emergency dispatch and 911 communications?
I could answer that for a second. I put that on the table for the council's review. Our CFO is getting the documents. She's already given me the preliminary documents. This is something that various individuals on this governing body in the past have talked about, and that information has been provided to the police department. There is going to be a meeting that I'm orchestrating with Sheriff Golden and with the county finance people. There is bonding available for the transition fund. So that I'm working on that, but as I've said to the press, I firmly believe, and I'll say it once again, we should not have our own dispatch. Every other major municipality has gone, outsourced it to the county. There's no reason why Little Red Bank can't do it. It's not going to kill us.
I agree with you. It'll enhance public safety. It's going to cut costs. Councilman Ballard, you told us our future liabilities with personnel matters, they're going to be tremendous. We get them out there, we don't have to worry about these personnel. I'm sure they take our dispatchers, nobody loses a job. More than likely, they're going to get a pay raise and better benefits and a better work schedule for there. So that's actually very encouraging to see. Moving on into even...
Don't forget, we're going to get numbers from them.
Okay.
And like every other town that has gone through the process, those numbers, at least in 2018, are not going to be the small numbers that they were in 2001. However, there is transition aid that is done with respect to that, and so we're going to have to do it sooner or later.
Well, we have to look at that too, because we look at what we're maintaining here, not just in dispatchers, in infrastructure, and then also paying police personnel to sit on that desk to receive calls. That's a lot of money here. We're also looking at what we're doing with our records management system that goes along with that. You know, we're losing 25% of revenue on summonses that are issued, whether it's parking or other moving violations with the InfoCop system that's being used. So those are things that are going to be gains here for the town as well. I also had questioned, we talk about shared services on our fire department, and the one thing I can disagree with in the management report is saying that, just go with the, blankly go with the fire chief's plan. We have too much fire apparatus in this town. And just because we have a railroad running through the middle of town, doesn't mean we have to buy more. Governor Corzine, a couple years ago, when he started commissioning property tax studies, Bergen County has more fire apparatus than the city of New York. Monmouth County is in the same issue here. One engine can cover 9 square miles. We're just under 3 square miles. We still have, what, 5 engines and 2 ladder trucks. We can start selling some stuff right now, and I'm not talking about gimmicks. We can take care of this right now.
Tom, if I can reply on behalf of all my colleagues, the whole genesis of this report was to have the empirical information that you are pointing out.
I want to say it as a resident and get it out there. I want to start getting everybody to listen to this. Listen to this. I mean, these are things that we can start addressing now. We can start addressing now.
Tom, let me just take a step back. So what you see in our 5-year plan is our worst case scenario. That's our worst case scenario.
And I'll plan for the worst, hope for the best.
Absolutely. And there's no intention to follow the worst case scenario. We are looking every year to improve the borough and bring those cost savings in as soon as possible.
Okay.
The grant consultant is already on board. We're looking to bring in more revenues and fund some of the projects around town through people giving us money instead of taxing the residents. Number 2, the shared services. That's going to kick off September 15th.
Too late after we've already implemented a 5% tax increase, because let's face it, once you increase my taxes, they're not going down. They're not.
I can't promise you they're going down, but we can temper any future increases
we can do
by
things
doing
now,
shared
though.
services. But we have to set that up. Governments are not speedboats, they're Titanics.
I understand.
And it takes time. A lot of the things you see in the budget for 2018 are legacy.
I'm coming from government as well. I understand where you're coming from.
And like I said, please just give us a little time and a little patience.
I'm looking at history, though.
2 years from now, I'm singing the same song. Every resident in Red Bank should come up here and tar and feather.
2014, 15, 16, 17, now 18 into 19. Every year.
Because that's what I said I was going to do, and that's what I plan on doing.
And I appreciate that. I want to move on to the next one here. So we keep talking about more costs. Our EMS. We had a cost of $30,000, and I addressed the council about this when we went to the new EMS contract with Alert. We absolutely need a paid service in town. What the first aid squad was doing, it's nothing to their fault. I applaud their service. People were waiting an hour for an ambulance to get to them. What's going on is great right now. The cost went up 300%. I actually floated things out there, things that we could have done to do, cost-saving measures. We could have offered our ambulance that the volunteers have for them to use. We have a first aid squad right now. Even though we're maintaining it, it's doing nothing. It's a liability to the town with people getting hurt, workman's compensation, all those things. It's nice to say we have it. It's nice to say we're maintaining it. It's a liability to the town. It's a cost to the town right now that we can't afford. They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything, and unfortunately, when you look at just the way the volunteer service is going, especially across EMS, it's never going to be an EMS or a volunteer service in this town anymore. It's just not looking.
I agree.
It will never happen again. I would love to see it, and that's really what we need in this society right now, is for people to be helping each other and have a volunteer type mentality, but that is not the way 2018 is. I really wish, especially with Alert being part of Meridian, and considering everything that's going on, why weren't we more aggressive in saying, hey, we could have gotten rid of that firehouse there. They should be in the hospital using their electric and their power and everything else. Would have cut down on some of the costs there, or figure out what are they doing with the billing. These are all things that I feel.
Negotiation items were tried, were unsuccessful. It takes two people to dance.
Of course, I just wish, and I wish that maybe we would have been more aggressive with approaching some of the other towns that we have. Middletown is now expanding to a 24/7 EMS-based service. Tinton Falls has a Monday through Friday. I wish we could have looked at a shared service there. The contracted services are good. Maybe we need to look out there. I really think that we could have saved some money there. That really would have been.
It's a one-year contract, Tom, and
I thought it was 3.
I think that there's a one-year kick-out. I mean, it's
Okay.
it's a three-year life of it, but we can kick out based on changed circumstances.
Okay, all right. My next one is, it's crazy here, it drives me nuts. Our DPW. You know, I see in the bills here every month, you know, our DPW is no longer doing garbage collection. I look and I see on our Parks and Rec that we have outsourced the lawn cutting services. Why? Why is our DPW not doing stuff like that? And even when I see them doing stuff, it's dangerous. I walk down when I'm coming home from 7 o'clock Mass on Sunday mornings, and I do this religiously, no pun intended, and I see our DPW personnel taking the garbage out of the cans that are on Broad Street. Well, they're lifting heavy cans without a lift gate onto the back. One, inefficient. Two, we're setting ourselves up for more workman's compensation injuries. Didn't we have that as a reason of why we got rid of garbage collection? And yet, we're just letting that happen. The liabilities are just endless. I did communicate my concerns to the council. I sent the picture of what was going on, and you know what happened? It's still going on. That gentleman and those workers are still out there carrying things that are extremely heavy, putting it onto the back there, and I guarantee that there's been injuries to it, and that's impacting our tax base right there. That's impacting what we're taking out of the budget, and a guy is not going to work and not doing the job there. And I've been saying it, and it's nothing against DPW. I really wonder what's happening outside of water and sewer. You know, we have over $1 million in salaries to them. What is going on there? Especially when I see that things are being contracted out, then contract it out, and I hate to say the word layoff or find the jobs that they need to do. Because it really doesn't seem like anything's going on there. And really, it's probably closer to a $2 million cost in salary and benefits that we see going out to the DPW workers. And I've questioned before what their body of work is, what are the job specs, so on and so forth. And honestly, not many answers come of it. And then when you do see the work that's going on there, it's creating more exposure to the town. And I don't think that that's a good thing to take a look at there.
Tom, with all due respect, that last point and some of the other points were all items that, as my initial remarks indicated, were contained in the report. I can assure you, without getting into details, that our new BA is engaged in individual issues such as that. You're going to see in the next couple of weeks remedial actions on a lot of the things you're talking about. Okay. But if you feel that you would like a more in-depth review without getting into the details of the negotiations with various departments, our BA is certainly available for an appointment. Where
I wish you would actually commission a panel of some citizens to actually interact and hear, because I know people would do that and put some type of commission together to collaborate with our new business administrator, which I'm very excited to see here.
Yes, but all of those things are contained in the report, which is what I started off by saying. This is all good stuff.
I wish
and your comments interact with that.
And the point of bringing it up here is, why aren't we trying to get some stuff in here where we can forecast and lower this? I'm saying that action can be taken now. If we're going to be so aggressive about this, we don't need 5%. Why should I just open up my checkbook and give another 5%? That's what I'm saying. Some of this can be done now, and you can forecast it into your budget right now. Don't approve this budget tonight. Please, start getting some of these things together and do this. Really show me. I have paid up. I've been a good citizen. I paid it ahead. All right? Do it for me. Do it for me to show that you have some type of good faith. I just don't want to keep writing this checkbook here. Well, here's my last point here, and then I'll turn it back over. I look at the...
no, I mean, your comments are
I look at our permits that are out there right now and the added assessment. I have been one of those people who has appealed because we have a tax assessor who doesn't do his job, okay? And when the tax assessor doesn't do his job, I'm going to appeal it because I refuse to pay anything extra. I pay my fair share, and I will continue to pay my fair share, and I have won all the way in tax court, and I will continue to do it. Moreover, I see that we have over 5,000 permits that are outstanding and probably millions of dollars of added assessments that we're not getting. Go get that money. Go get that money. That is out there. That is money that is sitting there. I am, and I'm sure the rest of the citizens that are in here, we're paying that. We're giving them interest-free loan, just like that. Whatever they want to wind up doing here, go get that money. I'm sure it's in the millions of dollars. 5,000 permits, and I feel foolish. I should have just continued with a temporary CO in my house and just kept with vacant land taxes, even though it eventually would have caught up on me. Maybe it didn't. I don't know, but I was an honest citizen, and I'm paying for it. There are many other things that I have here that I've communicated. I hope that your green initiatives are coming along here, maybe doing a reduced work week of only working 4 days a week. Maybe that has to come back. I don't know what our administrator is potentially proposing here, but I'm sure that there's a lot of things that we can do to make it more efficient there across the board. But please, some things are going to be difficult out there. I am a firefighter, and I know that my recommendations out there are probably going to be hated by the fire department in this town. But you know what? I'm looking to make them more efficient and operate in a more safe manner and to be constructive. Because if we reduce things, we can get them better equipment more often. Getting them together and deploying them in a more efficient fashion, which ultimately improves public safety. Because when my house is on fire, God forbid, I want to know that I have the best coming in there to get me if I'm trapped and put my house out and to save my belongings and whatnot. I'm sure everybody else wants that. And I want a great police department. And again, maybe all those things with the shared services, but get them done now. Do not pass this budget tonight. Please go back, look through this, really, really drill down what can we get done this year. I think you can find it, that you can make this a 0% increase. If you do that, I would be here to support everything of the future initiative. If we had to bond money to go over to Monmouth County Communications, I would be here to say we need to support that. We need to bond certain other things to get through this. I would be there. 0% is what we need this year. We need nothing else. Show us good faith here. We've shown you good faith. We've elected you to all be here. And Councilman Ballard, I think you've done fantastic in presenting this, and you've done a lot with this management review here. Can't say enough about it, but please show us the good faith. Council persons, do not vote for this budget tonight. Please do not vote for this budget. Go back and look. Do it for all of us. I want to stay here. I've said it. I'm here. I will die here as a Red Bank resident. Don't force me out because of taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Anybody else who wishes to be heard on the budget? Ms. Visco.
25 Cedar Place. First of all, Mike, I think it's great that we're doing this here instead of the separate meeting. I know typically when the budget is done with the PowerPoint and whatnot, that the directors come, there's usually 1 or 2 people in the audience. Going to it over the past 6 years, there's 1 or 2 people here, so I'm glad there's more people here to see your presentation. So I think it's more constructive and it gets out to more people. You talked about a few things. One, looking at fees and charges, but I would really, any fees and charges, I would make sure is reasonable and it makes sense, because you can easily say it's indirect tax. I know we don't want to rehash the report that went out. I think it's definitely a good read. Tom, I thank you for your passion, and I think you brought it to life for a lot of people are probably going to go read it. With that being said, in the past, I spoke about simple things that need to be done. For example, when vouchers go out, or voucher system, when you work with vendors, a simple suggestion would be, you don't have to give vendors a prepaid envelope, because sometimes they don't use it. And I have an example here. When my company gets a voucher, Red Bank pays for the postage to come back. So that's a waste. And other towns that my company deals with, we can scan it back, we can fax it back, and we can be efficient.
On that, and obviously that was one of the items that was identified in the report. The administrator has a plan for that, and that's going to be changing.
Great. I mean, there's definitely opportunity, and again, back to that report where it's now factual, it's in paper, it's not just rhetoric when everybody comes down and talks about it, and especially for people who've only been in town for about 6 months that haven't heard all the complaints for years and years and years, having the same issues. For example, too, we were going to save money by not having somebody walk around town checking the water meters. That hasn't been done. All the water meters are not over yet. And I still haven't got my second water meter to receive money for myself and not pay for usage going out when I can have the second meter to save when I get my grass water or wash my car. And Mike, I congratulate you by using your 5-year look forward. I mean, that's what we've done in the school board when we had hired in a great superintendent, Dr. Rummage. As a school board, we came together and we worked with a 5-year plan, and it helped tremendous. So that step is great. Right now, the school is working on the benefit of putting that into play a couple years ago. So I commend you on that. It's an awesome step forward. And I think what you're doing so far has been great. So I just think that the town really needs to take the veils off and really look at what's going on at the dais, what's going on in the council meeting, and make sure we hold each other accountable. Respectfully, but we hold each other accountable.
Thank you, Sue. Anybody else? Okay. Is there a motion to close the public portion? Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There's been a previous motion to, I'm sorry? Yeah, no. Yeah. The first, with respect, is the ordinance 2018-13. We've had the public hearing on the budget. Now, there is an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Motion to introduce, Michael?
So moved.
Second? Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Whalen?
No.
Councilman Yingstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Ballard?
Yes.
Councilman Zimbrich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Okay, the cap bank is adopted. For the introduction of the budget, although we already had the public hearing on the cap bank and the budget, in the event anybody wishes any further comments, now's the time to comment before the introduction of the budget. Okay, if not, we'll move right on to the resolution 18-151, amending the budget. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so it's 4-1. And then we have resolution 18-52, authorizing the adoption of the 2018 municipal budget. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. Roll call?
Councilman Whalen?
No.
Councilman Yingstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Ballard?
Yes.
Councilman Zimbrich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Okay, the resolution is adopted. Ordinances for first reading. There are none. Ordinances for public hearing and final adoption is ordinance 2018-15, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 490 of the Planning and Development Regulations regarding the Historic Preservation Commission. This matter has been referred to the Planning Board. Planning Board review has come back. Planning Board has indicated 2 items. Number 1, consistency with the master plan is approved. They're asking for clarification in terms of maybe a guidance in terms of when it is promulgated as to what type of properties would be still subject to planning and zoning board approval. That's contained in the ordinance. That's just essentially a notice requirement. And secondly, they're asking the council to review the established fee that was recorded here as $100 per application for all of those matters that would have to go to the Historical Preservation Commission to do not go to the Planning and Zoning Board. The recommendation was that this would be a high fee, should be reduced. In speaking with the council liaison to the Historic Preservation Commission, probably an appropriate fee would be essentially half of that, $50 instead. So that's the recommendation from the Planning Board after we discussed it at a public hearing. So in light of that, any member, let's open it up for the public first. Motion to open it to public. Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any members of the public wish to address the Historic Preservation Ordinance? Mr. Scavone.
Jim Scavone, Executive Director of Red Bank River Center. I would just like to mention to the council that I'm extremely concerned, or speaking on behalf of River Center, we are extremely concerned about this ordinance for several reasons, many of which have to do with some of the comments that came out in the recent management report that the mayor referred to earlier tonight. First of all, one of the comments in that report was the need for the council and the borough as a whole to work more closely with River Center on matters that affect the downtown. Our understanding once we learned of this ordinance was that this ordinance has been in the work for some time, and River Center was never consulted or told about this ordinance until it was introduced at the last meeting. In light of the management report recommendation that River Center work more closely with the borough on these matters, I would really urge you to consider bringing River Center into this conversation before you pass this ordinance. The second point that I'd like to make is that there are, one of the things in the ordinance, for example, was that the need to establish design guidelines. River Center has design guidelines for that design district overlay. They are guidelines that are based on the principles of the National Trust for Historic Preservation. So I think they would fit in very well with the guidelines that the Historic Preservation Commission would develop. So I think there's a lot of duplication of effort. I think it's going to lead to confusion to businesses that are coming into the design overlay district if there's two sets of design guidelines. I know that the planning board did say that it fit in with the master plan, but the management report calls into question the efficacy of the current master plan of the borough of Red Bank. So I'm not sure that it is in the best interest of the borough to be acting on a master plan that we're not even sure is effective at this point. In addition, the management report calls for a new master plan specifically targeted to the downtown and specifically mentions that the borough, again, should work with River Center in developing that downtown master plan. Finally, the management report stresses the importance of development in the downtown to the overall health and well-being of the municipality. This ordinance places additional responsibilities on both developers and new business owners, or even current business owners that might want to change their signage or their facades. It adds a layer of bureaucracy and it adds additional costs. And not only the cost that was just reduced, which is fine, but if you're going to start requiring architectural documents from businesses that now have to go to the Historic Preservation Commission, that would not have to go to a planning or zoning board, and you're going to require review by other professionals, the costs to a business are going to increase. Increasing costs is not going to help with development in Red Bank. It is going to continue to promulgate that perception that Red Bank is business unfriendly. I don't think anybody denies the vital and important role that the Historic Preservation Commission plays in protecting Red Bank's architectural heritage. We feel that this particular ordinance, however, has not taken into account the many other factors that impact the downtown and potential development in Red Bank. We would very much like the opportunity to work with the borough to develop regulations that protect the historic character of Red Bank while at the same time encourage responsible development and economic growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Anybody else? Cindy.
Good evening. Cindy Burnham, 71 Wallace Street. I'm here as a resident of the historical residential zone, and I'm here with other residents. I have some letters from other residents, and I've spoken to at least 25 residents, and this residential zone encompasses about 4 blocks. And I have spoken to homeowners, home-occupied people that are definitely for this, because what we've seen in our area is absentee landlords coming in, slicing and dicing a one-family house and doing things like putting river rock in front of the house instead of grass, or raising the grade, or enclosing a porch. And this is what we want to prevent. We feel that, you know, you created the historical residential zone. There's got to be some kind of rules. Right now there are no rules. The Historical Preservation HPC can only encourage or discourage. There's no teeth. And we just feel that as residents of these homes, we need help, or we're losing our historical residential zone little by little. And I don't know if you want me to read letters or...
You can give it to the clerk. They'll be incorporated into the...
You know, I'll give them to you tomorrow because I'll make a copy.
Okay. Well,
But
just for purposes of the record, what you're referring to in your comments is the Washington Street Historic District.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. And so it's needed. We need something to protect, or else we will not have a historical residential zone. I know when I bought my first house, 65 Wallace Street, back in the 80s, somebody had already turned it into a two-family. It was always a one-family. The first thing I did was rip off the aluminum siding, turn it back to a one-family, you know, and that's what I did with my second house on Wallace Street. And most people that buy in that area want to restore, you know, and we're getting a lot of empty nesters, single mommies, daddies, and that's a great place to be, you know, if you're a single or an empty nester, and we've got to preserve that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mark?
Mark Fitzsimmons, 234 River Road. I'm on the HPC Commission. And I'd just like to say a few things. We've traveled many years with the commission here. We are a weak commission prior. This would make us a stronger commission as far as the adoption of this ordinance. Thank you. And we really feel that it's very important that the adoption take place with this ordinance. The main reason is we want to protect the historical character of this town, Washington Street Historic District, Broad Street. I know Jim has made comments that they have design guidelines they follow as far as with River Center. We respect River Center's guidance and what they've done in the past to develop Broad Street. But we really feel that this is proper, that this should be part of the arm of the government of Red Bank under the HPC as far as these guidelines to follow. And you know, the jewel in Red Bank, or jewel in New Jersey is Cape May, their guidelines. And Cape May has developed for many years based upon strong guidelines that are from a strong commission. I'm not comparing Red Bank to Cape May, but this is the way it starts. It has to start with guidelines. It just came from a New Jersey Historic Preservation Commission last week. All these towns had to say the same thing. It starts with guidelines that are enforced. If you don't have enforcing guidelines, then it's not going to work. Our history is going to be diminished. It's going to be eroded. And also, tourism is a very important part of this state. There is billions of dollars spent in the state for tourism every year. Red Bank is a designation spot. River Center advertises all the time about Red Bank being the designation spot. We know it is a designation spot. We want people to come here to Red Bank, and we want proper development, and we need guidelines, because guidelines is going to help keep the historic character, and that's what's attractive to bring people here as far as tourism. Tourism is a big dollar, and we want Red Bank on the top in Monmouth County to be a destination tourism spot in this county. And these guidelines are going to help that. It's going to bring money to this town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody else? Andy? I just saw his hand up first. It's okay.
No, that's okay. I didn't see it. You were behind me. Hi, Patricia Cooten, 46 Spring Street. I'm in the Historic District, and I believe I was one of the first to go to the, what is it called? The Historic Preservation Commission. So they were actually an incredible guiding body for me, but I will tell you, I was going to them thinking I had to listen to everything they said, and I pretty much did. And I think that we should adopt this where they have more of a presence in having to adopt and stick with historic guidelines, which I did. And I'm not saying it as like, I did so you have to, but I did because I agree with the history of Red Bank and keeping old homes the way they should be and not letting them turn into two-family homes. And I will say I am a fan of the Historic Preservation Commission. They're awesome. They do a lot of work. They do a lot of research, and I learned a lot from them. And it's kind of silly. I really didn't learn until the end of my process that I could have just said, I don't want it. I did follow their guidelines, and I think that they should be given the authority to implement.
Thank you. Just a clarification, not for you, but for persons in the audience. The genesis of this came from the commission, and it has three essential component parts. The first and the direct impact is to the historic district of Washington Street, the historic district. And I think that there's been a lot of talk about that, and as you said, it's the right thing to do. The second impact is on the downtown, and that is where I think that there is some confusion even by individuals who have vested interests in the downtown. And what I think a lot of people fail to realize is they keep on referring to this as an added layer of government for the downtown. It is not that. As a matter of fact, if a structure in the downtown district is before the zoning board of adjustment or the planning board, and frankly, I think 95% of them are going to be if they're doing something, they already are before those boards. They don't have to go before the Historic Preservation Commission. It is not a separate application. It is not a separate fee. It is not separate architects or engineers, because the planning and the zoning board already has the application. In the municipal land use law, there is an element of both boards that refers things that are subject to historical review to the commission, and right now, and in the future, the Historic Preservation Commission is going to send the planning board or the zoning board the same report as they're doing now. So in about 95% of the cases, there will be no additional work. It's already being done now, it just formalizes it. So that's where a lot of the confusion is, even by very, very active individuals in our business community. And the third aspect is that it refers to structures that are listed in the planning board housing, historical housing inventory. Well, that historical housing inventory, as part of the master plan, is dated 2009. So the real impact is in Washington Street. Yeah. So in terms of the downtown, I hear a lot of people who haven't read it or considered it that they think it's an extra layer of government. It is no different in most of the application from what is going on now. Now, if somebody is changing something that is not subject to a planning board approval or a zoning board approval, that they would go before the Historic Commission, but they wouldn't go before the planning board or the zoning board. So did I leave something out? I just wanted to clarify, because there is a misconception here, and even a lot of members of the planning board didn't understand that, but then when we really walked it through Title 40, which is the land use development ordinance, as well as the municipal land use law, they realized we're doing this anyhow. It doesn't replace it, it just formalizes it.
Now, a quick question for that. They made some really good points. For the, you just said they didn't have to go to the planning or zoning board of adjustments. They're going to go down to the formalized historic commission. Are they going to need like professionals at this, or is it just going to be like an informal?
What, Michael? I'm sorry.
Like when they have to go send their plans now to the historic commission.
No, for example,
they're going to need like.
and again, Cindy addressed this appropriately in the historical district. It wasn't unusual for people who have yards and have small houses to pave over their yards, put a blacktop on it, and they wouldn't need to go before the board for that. They would go to the construction department, they would issue them a permit. Yet it's in a historical zone, and you got different people doing whatever they want to do. This formalizes in that zone that now, if they want to do it, they can have their contractor or their architect or whoever's doing the addition to their house. It doesn't have to be a separate application, but at least they meet with the board, but it's formalized, they would have to do it now.
And Mayor, we had earlier discussed the possibility of creating a preamble to this to help clarify that.
That's what I was referring to. I think that there should be, sort of a narrative that attaches any application to explain to people exactly what I just said now, that it really doesn't apply to most of the applications because they're already being handled as part of the municipal land use law. It just, those applications that don't go before the board is where it applies. Anybody else? Andy, now.
Andy North, 20 Washington Street. Very well put, what you just said. Actually,
Thank you.
It was, no, because that's exactly what it's all about. It's just about being able to have a say in that district for things that may not normally come before the boards, but in most cases, it's always going to be before the boards. But now the Historic Commission has a little more oomph in what they say, that people have to at least really stand up and at least listen to what their comments are. And it's important. As a person like myself, I've worked tooth and nail in my own house. And, you know, when the town finally came through and redid our street, it really made a big difference that the district really came a little more alive with that input from the town. So I encourage you to support the ordinance you have before you go for it.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mayor, can I just ask
Mr. Scavone, yeah, please.
I just wanted to clarify something you said because I was unclear. So I understand that development that would normally go to the planning or zoning board would continue to do that. But
yeah, that board preempts whatever.
Right. Applications that typically do not, like signage application, if somebody's coming in and just changing a sign and those types of things, those would now have to go before the Historic Preservation Commission, according to the ordinance.
You would submit them presumably to Glenn Carter, and he would.
And in the past, Glenn would have administrative
and what the only
rights
difference,
to
the only
just
difference
approve
is
those.
that he will refer them to the Historic Preservation Commission. I would think so, yeah.
Well, they are, like they're referred to us or whatever, but.
Right, but even when, I'm sorry, Jim, even when an application is made it's through the Planning and Zoning Office.
Right.
That is routed to the members of the Historic Preservation Commission.
Right.
Currently.
Right.
So it's no change.
It's no change except for the result or
I think
can't think of the right word, I'm sorry.
What you're getting at is this, and again, I hate to preempt or put words in your mouth, but I think what you're getting at is that you're saying that right now, they meet with the commission and they either agree or they don't agree, and then it's in la-la land. But here, this formalizes the procedure that if an application is made before their commission, and they don't like the proposal for the sign, then the person who is presenting the application actually has an administrative remedy, and they would have to go to the Zoning Board of Adjustment to review with the Historic Preservation. Now, they don't need a lawyer for that. It's an interpretation.
Okay. And then, I mean, it does, my reading of the ordinance does say that they have to submit architecture by a New Jersey licensed architect. So it does seem like they have to hire an architect for those things.
That would apply to construction, I would think, but it doesn't apply to a sign. You're not going to get an architect to do a sign. You can get any sign guy to do a sign, right? Yeah.
Right, but just to clarify that, in some cases, they will have to seek professional licensed people.
Mayor, can I ask Jim a quick question?
Yes.
Are you guys involved on this board at all? Like, is there a member from the River Center that can maybe facilitate and maybe work with the board?
There is not currently.
Is there a way that we can maybe add a member to the Historic Commission from the River Center, just so maybe they could be more hands-on working together? Because River Center already has guidelines and the Historic Commission already does.
Yes.
When
What is extra meetings?
Sure.
I mean, I have no problem with it. It's up to the commission, and they can make a recommendation. And as a member, as long as the person's a resident,
But we do essentially the same thing for River Center when it comes to, we have resident members. So I mean, why not have a resident member that we appoint to River Center, appoint them maybe the same thing from a River Center to...
Yeah, what I'm saying is that it can be done. The only qualification is that they have to be a resident, that's all. You just have to take a look at the membership, that's all. Anybody else? Okay, motion to close. Second. All in favor? Okay, there's an ordinance 2018-15, motion to adopt. Second. Second. Roll call.
Councilman Whalen?
No.
Councilman Yangstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Ballard?
Yes.
Councilman Ziprich? Yes. Councilwoman Morgan? Yes.
Okay, the ordinance is adopted. Next, we have ordinance 2018-17, an ordinance supplementing the code with respect to the position of business administrator. Any members of the public wish to be heard on this? Seeing none, motion to close. Second. All in favor? Okay, motion to adopt. Second. Roll call.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilman Ewingstrom?
Yes.
Councilman Ballard?
Abstain.
Councilman Zimbrich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Okay, the ordinance is adopted. Resolution 18153, amending the time and place for Borough Council meeting as previously indicated. Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 18154, honoring Harry Jane as the highest ranking Red Bank senior. Motion. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 18155, authorizing approval of sidewalk cafes. Motion. Second. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 156, authorizing renewal of plenary retail distribution licenses for 2018-2019. Any members of the public wish to be heard on this? If not, motion. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 18157, authorizing renewal of plenary retail consumption licenses for 2018-2019. Any members of the public wish to be heard on this? If not, motion. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 18158, authorizing the issuance of an interest-free internal note of the Borough of Red Bank, County of Monmouth. Motion. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 18159, authorizing change order number 8 relating to Marine Park Site and Bodmin Place Pump Station Improvement. Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 18160, approving participation with the State of New Jersey Division of ABC, Cops in the Shop programs. Motion, Michael?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution 18161, a resolution awarding a professional services contract to CME Associates as redevelopment planning engineer in regard to lots 2.01, 4.016, and 9.01 on the street as pursuant to the fair and open public, non-fair and open public process established by NJSA 19:44A20-4. Motion. Second. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? There are no proclamations. Payment of vouchers. Resolution 18162 be resolved by the Mayor and Council the bills be paid on the attached check registry totaling $346,643.89. Motion.
Excuse me, I think it's 643 and 346, 543.
Oh, okay. I've got two numbers, one on the calendar and the other. What is it, Michael?
It's 346, 543.89.
Okay, how about authorizing that number? And second? All in favor? That goes to the point that it should all be electronic.
Good.
Any old business? Any new business? Audience? Members of the audience? Mr. Forrest.
Ben Barr, 16 Locust Avenue. I actually wanted to commend all of you for this management study. I did read it, and I've heard the discussions tonight about it. What I really am impressed with is that it seems to be an honest study. I mean, it's easy to find consultants who will tell you what you want to hear. And, you know, there's things in it that are trouble. But you had the wisdom to, you know, there was a big change here, time to look at everything. You know, there shouldn't be any sacred cows here. We have to run our borough efficiently for all of our sakes. The permitting thing, I mean, there's a lot of things in there that need to be looked at. I also like that you're looking at the big picture of how the borough was run, whether it should be more focused, having a stronger business manager and a little less distribution, I guess, or commission-style form of government. I think these are things that are worthwhile talking about, especially since there is a significant movement in town around this whole government change thing. But I'm very proud of you, and it's a risky thing to do. You know, the truth sometimes is hard. And I've had, as a fellow official on the Board of Education, obviously I'm just speaking for myself, I've had to wrestle with truths I don't like either. I've had the unfortunate position, even just this year, of having to raise our taxes. Being responsible for that, I voted. In our case, you know, life's not fair sometimes. And I've had to live with cuts, and I've had to live with that impact my family directly, and I've had to live with people yelling at me about taxes. But I appreciate the courage of moving forward and doing what's best for the town, which I think that document is, you know, is a demonstration of an action. And Mayor and council members, I appreciate you, you know, kind of feisty, fighting forward. You know, there's things we haven't done in the past. Maybe we should have done this study sooner, but you did. We have a new administrator. I think there's some lessons learned there, and for all of us, and you know, I learned it all too. You know, when you do evaluations and when people work for you, you have to sometimes ask uncomfortable questions, even if you like the person, or maybe you have to look at the whole picture, or maybe it's good to get outsiders in every 5 years or so and do evaluations. Whatever. Let me just look at my notes here to see if I remembered all my points tonight. No, it covers it. Thank you very much, and all of you. And I think it was a bipartisan thing hiring this outfit. And welcome to the party, Mr. Administrator.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Mr. DeSoto.
The report that many of us have read mentioned that there are 9,000.
Can I just get your address? I know you're.
Sure, sorry. Sean DeSoto, 142 South Street.
Thank you.
9,000 open applications or permits that weren't, that there were no final inspections on. Who's responsible for that?
That's been reduced substantially.
To what?
It's about 5,000, yeah.
Okay.
That was it. That's still a lot.
Okay, no problem. Let's go with your number. No problem.
Yeah.
So let's use your number, 5,000. Who's responsible for that?
Well, ultimately, it's the various departments that deal with it. It's not just one department. I'm not going to go into names at this point.
Why not? Somebody is entrusted to do this for the borough. We all know that there's a name. We know what the name is. Why won't anybody say the name publicly? And why can't we finally hold somebody to account who now, through their own ineptitude, has cost the borough taxpayers how much? It could be upwards of $1 million. God knows what safety violations are happening in buildings where kids and babies sleep. I mean, right? And we're just gonna leave that aside. Who is it? Who's the person? Let's name them, and let's have a discussion, and let's put them up here in front of taxpayers, and let them answer for it. Who is it?
I don't think it's fair to focus on one person because employees and public employees are that, and let's just leave it at that.
Public employees. Good. There's another focus here on the borough engineer. Ms. Ballard has been our borough engineer for most, except for one of the last 10 years.
That's not Ms. Ballard.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have my glasses.
It's not even the same firm.
Right. No. I get that. But so for many years we had that, and then we had a few other borough engineers. And the question to me is, how does one become a borough engineer here in Red Bank? What is the process for somebody who would like to be our engineer? How do they go about becoming the borough engineer? You just apply like anybody else?
I'm sorry?
You just apply like anybody else?
There's an RFP that goes out. A number of requirements have to be met in terms of the state statute, as you know. You have to be an engineer, number one.
Sure. Oh, no, I'm not looking for a job. I can't do an engineering job.
Number one. Number two, you have to have some proficiency in the field of municipal engineering or municipal planning. And you put in your RFPs, and frankly, I think that this year and last year, we did something that we haven't done, and TMA was for about 30 years, beginning with Bernard Blum and Howard Shore, when he used to be with T&M. The firm of T&M were our municipal engineers for 30 years in Republican administrations and democratic administrations.
Right.
A few years ago, we switched from T&M to CME, and Laura is from CME. So that was only done 2 years ago.
We had Mazer.
Yeah, and Richard, I was going to get to that, but before that, in the interregnum between T&M and CME, we had Mazer Associates, and I believe they were our engineers for maybe 2 years. So we've had different firms, but the bulk of that time has been by T&M Associates. And all three firms and others, as you know, because you're not a novice to public contracts.
I've never been involved in one in my entire life, on either side of it.
You're a smart man, you know that.
But I'm just telling you, I've never been on either side of a business. No, just clarify for the record, I have never once been involved on either side of a public contract.
No, you read. I mean,
I can read.
You're a voracious reader.
Barely.
So the public contracts are submitted as a result of the RFP dialogue, and they're awarded. Now, this year, I have to tell you, for purposes of clarity, CME is our engineer. They're our designated municipal engineer, but at the same time, we've done something in the past 2 years that we never used to do before, is on various projects, we will go out and get competitive quotes with the other engineering firms also.
I know. And then another question is, how does one get appointed to, let's say, a planning board? Is there a residency requirement? Is there an involvement requirement? Is there a test to pass? How does one get a planning board appointment in this town? Because obviously we've seen a lot of these issues stem from the planning board. So we have no master plan. We have a number of other issues that haven't been addressed. So how does one, if a resident here wants to serve on the planning board, how would they do it?
They submit an application, it's reviewed by the council, and I get comments and recommendations from the council, and I make the appointment.
And is there a residency requirement to live here? And how long precisely before the appointment do you have to be a resident of Red Bank to serve on the planning board?
Under Title 40, I believe that is not specified, which is the statute that permits with the appointment to municipal bodies. It only deals with the colonialization issue, and that makes sure that somebody is a bona fide resident.
It's my understanding that
there's no resident.
It's my understanding that someone was appointed to the planning board this year who lived in town for about 71 days prior to their appointment, had never been involved at all in Red Bank before, and now they're sitting on the planning board. And I'm just kind of wondering what the background and experience of that particular person is that made you, as the mayor, appoint them to the planning board.
Received recommendations from the council, reviewed the recommendations, and I believe that we do need good residents who are young, bring a different perspective to the planning and zoning board, and we shouldn't be afraid of youth. As a matter of fact, when I first became mayor, I was criticized for appointing somebody as my alternate who was 21 years old, yet that person was actually a planner and one of our residents and contributed more to the planning board in his brief period of time of 3 years, as Ms. Boas will say, than most members who have sat on that planning board for 30 years. So the age factor and the involvement factor is not critical, it's the enthusiasm and it's the spirit that a person brings to it.
So if they're really excited people, they should do what? Come to the mayor and say, I'm really excited about being on the planning board?
Yeah, you want to serve on the planning board?
No, pass, thanks. Good. But I'm just saying, for anybody else, thank you.
It's nice to see you, Mr. DeSoma.
Pleasure's all mine.
You lost some weight.
Did I? Thank you.
Yes.
I'm trying.
Well, you're wearing dark clothes.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I wear them.
Anybody else? Okay, do we have a need for executive session? Okay, then in that case, motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor? We're adjourned, thank you.
What a terrible, terrible work to do.